Hi Chelsea fans, welcome along to another video, and the video today we're going to talk about the Super Cup, we're going to talk about what next for Tammy Abraham, we're going to talk about Romelu Lukaku, and also news from Chelsea 2 days before the first game of the season that a section of the shed will be closed and fans are not happy. Let's get cracking. So guys, we sit here and I'm recording this particular episode around 5:20 on Thursday evening. We're all sitting here refreshing our Twitter feed, waiting for news on Romelu Lukaku. So while we're waiting, let's just talk about the Super Cup. And Chelsea have won the UEFA Super Cup last night, beating Villarreal 6-5 on penalties. And it's just a shame it went that far, really. We have to be completely honest, it's a pre-season game. Players are not sharp, but it was a little bit concerning. As I was stating on my live stream that I did last night, Chelsea were great for 30-35 minutes. Totally dominated the game with Villarreal sitting deep and just with their bank of 5 or 6 across the back line with their midfield and their forwards all tucking in, defending no higher than 30 yards from their own goal line. Chelsea were dominating possession, creating some chances. We had an opportunity from Timo Werner, saved by the goalkeeper. Conte fired wide. Alonso fired towards the near post, saved. And then we got the breakthrough, a great move. Alonso plays the ball down the left-hand side to Havertz, who makes a great run from inside to out to left-hand side. He crosses the ball in, it avoids. Timo Werner goes behind his run to the near post, but there's Hakim Ziyech, who follows up and scores on 27 minutes. And you expected Chelsea to literally go and dominate and get 2 or 3, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. One of those reasons was the fact that we allowed Villarreal to come out, change their approach and attack us, and they created some chances for us, notably first half. Edouard Mendy was called into a save low down from close range on the right hand side, and then a screamer from Moreno, volleyed on the underside of the crossbar, bounces out and away just before half time. They can come out again second half. Chelsea again weren't really were allowing Villarreal to do it, and we were backing off, and they scored. We gave the ball away. Rudiger gave the ball away, looking for a long ball out wide left. They won it back into Moreno, 1-2 with the forward, and a great finish. Great player, Gerard Moreno. Surprising that no one's picked him up. Anyway, it was a game where we then had a couple of chances. They had theirs. Mendy called into another save near post. We had an option where we drilled. I think Alonso drilled one into the side net in. Mount forced a save from the goalkeeper. It goes to penalties, and Kepa had come on. He was our 6th substitute, and he come on a minute and a half before the end of extra time. And that decision was justified with him saving the 2 penalties to win the game. The problem was, if you think about the situation and you think about the substitutions that were made, Conte came off to protect him, obviously. Others come off as well. Werner come off. Havertz was playing up front. And it leads me on to the situation with Tammy Abraham. Now, I genuinely fear for Tammy Abraham, and I think last night might have been the final straw as far as what he wants to do. We've heard from Thomas Tuchel that it's been his fault, that Tammy's not been involved as much and has not been playing as much. And obviously Tammy, they need to evaluate what he wants to do this season. Tammy had the opportunity yesterday to be involved. For whatever reason, we decided to take Kurt Zouma off and replace him with Andreas Christensen. Zouma didn't look like he was rusty at all or struggling. Christensen, okay, gets some game time in his legs, but the game was crying out for Tammy Abraham to come on second half up front. But we persisted with Kai Havertz up there, and let's be honest, at the end of the game he was on his arse. Missed the penalty, the first penalty in the shootout. He was knackered. He'd played the whole 120 minutes, getting game time into his legs, but surely it was an opportunity to bring Tammy Abraham on, but it didn't happen. And Tammy didn't come on, Kepa come on late. And you just generally think that for Tammy, seeing there and seeing the fact that he wasn't involved in the whole game when it was obvious that it was crying out for him to come on, I think that's it for Tammy. And I think Tammy will then decide to either push for a move to Arsenal or to Roma, where Chelsea have reportedly already agreed a deal with Roma. It's just down to Tammy to decide whether or not he wants to leave London and go across to Italy and go and join up with Jose Mourinho, or as I said, if he can push a move to Arsenal. For me, that wasn't good for Tammy last night, and Tammy will score you goals no matter where he goes. I understand the argument that people are saying is not Premier League quality. I understand that, but the thing is, he does score goals, and he has done in the Premier League for Chelsea. So I do get both sides of the argument. It's just a shame to see Tammy go, because I think he will go. If he decides to stay and fight for his place, then fair play to him. I wouldn't expect him to do that, to be honest with you, the lack of involvement that he's got. But fair play if he does decide to do it. Anyway, let's now move on to someone that's reportedly going to take his number 9 shirt, with Tammy quite happy to give it up, supposedly. And that's Romelu Lukaku, who flew into Biggin Hill last night. We've all been expecting the announcement to be made today, but it hasn't been to this point. At 23 minutes past 5 this evening, it's not been announced, and everyone's calling for it. Expect it to be announced this evening at some point. A fantastic signing, and someone that you can see just from the game last night. I know it's pre-season, but just from the game last night, it highlighted the situation at times for Chelsea last season under Tuchel. We have great moments in games, and then we sort of switch off, and we get ourselves sucked deep, and we allow teams to come onto us. We need that out ball, and that's what Lukaku's going to give us. His brute strength and force will give it to us. Not in the air, because as I said, he needs to improve in the air. He's not good enough for his height and his physique in the air. He should be dominating and winning every single ball that's played up to him in the air, but he doesn't do that. He's not good enough, and he needs to improve that side of his game. But for brute strength and brute force, he's going to give us that option to play it up to him, to hold it up, hold off defenders and play other people in, or try and create something from nothing himself. It was lacking last night in the Super Cup Final. At times against Man City, it was lacking. Champions League Final, and as I say, in games last season, there was times where we just needed that out ball, and we didn't have it, or we had no option because Giroud was sitting on the bench, so was Tammy, and we suffered for it. Expecting to score more than 20 this season, but it's just his influence on the team and his influence on the pitch that will draw people to him to go and mark him. It will open the space up for other people, and that's why Lukaku will be such a fantastic signing for us. It'll be an amazing signing, and we all need it done. So we've covered the Super Cup, we've covered Tammy and the fact that he wasn't involved, and we've covered Romelu Lukaku. More on that, obviously, as that develops in the course of the evening and over the next couple of days. But just on this announcement that's been made today by Chelsea. Now, they've been installing in the shed, upper and lower, and the Matthew Harding rail seating, which is part of the safety improvements, which is fantastic. They've taken it on board and they've arranged it, and those two sections of the ground will have that seating, the rail seating. The problem is they've left it now until today to announce that the guys that are doing the install or are coming up with, whoever's involved as part of the contract, cannot guarantee that it'll be finished by Saturday lunchtime or by Saturday for the Palace game. So Chelsea fans in those particular areas that are affected, and Chelsea have put it on their website, the blocks that are affected, have now got to be faced with the fact that they're going to get a refund, or they can end up getting a Champions League game thrown in for free. They get a refund for any travel expenses they've pre-booked, a refund for the ticket, obviously, that they've paid for, that they can't now go and watch the game. And there's uproar amongst the Chelsea fans, I have to say. I've seen a comment on social media today with them talking about telling sponsors they can't go and taking some sponsors' seats. That's not going to happen. But it's just a bit scandalous. And Chelsea have noted the fact that it's not good enough on their website, and fair play to them. But it's just a strange outcome. And they've said there'll be more on this tomorrow, which will be announced for the Chelsea social media channels and on the website, with official update on what the situation is going to be. But to leave it 2 days before the season starts with a big build-up and the Chelsea fans waiting to get into the ground for the season to start, we've all been waiting since the Champions League final. I think it's a bit of a travesty, and it's not good. And you do understand why these Chelsea fans are kicking off. So I just wanted to bring that to the table as well. Four topics for conversation. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Not a lot of graphics, I know. It's just me talking to you because I think that's the best way forward. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. So if you have, drop a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, but make sure you've hit the bell for notifications. And then also let me know in the comments section what you thought about the game last night, about Lukaku, about Tammy Abraham and obviously about this nightmare with the seating and the shed end being affected for the game against Palace on Saturday. Join me tomorrow. I'll be a quick preview for the Palace game and the season coming up, looking at potential departures as well. And will there be any additional signings? Bearing in mind, Trevor Chalobah was man of the match last night. An outstanding performance from the youngster who showed a level of maturity. Bearing in mind he's on loan at Ipswich last season, he's come in and just looked right at home yesterday. There was one little mistake in the penalty box, but he got away with it. Apart from that, completely faultless. Outstanding performance. And if anything, should really remind Thomas Tuchel, why go and spend money on a signing from over at Seville to come in when you've got talent within our ranks anyway? So let me know what you think about the video in the comments section. Have a cracking evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.